we have a set of new trilogies coming out, and they just announced this, and I have to get this off my chest. Disney doesn't seem to understand what Star Wars can benefit from most. Star Wars theatrically does not benefit year after year from constantly having movies. Even Fast and the Furious takes 2 to 3 years off. Mission Impossible takes 2 to 3 years off. Bond takes 4 years off sometimes. You have these franchises that pause because they know that people will expect them to pause so that you can get that interest back. Instead, Disney's rolling this stuff out even faster than any other franchise that we've ever seen. And it is worrying because at a certain point this will tire people out. And the question is, why aren't they using other media sources to tell these stories? If they have Rian Johnson working on movie franchises, movie trilogies, and if they have these new directors working on another set of trilogies, why isn't there a larger video game footprint? Why haven't they done the prequel sort of template that George Lucas obviously knew would make logical sense? Let these stories be told by video games. Let these things be told through television shows. Why, if there's Netflix, if there's Hulu, if there's all these networks, why haven't you then said, hey, let's tell these stories and possibly get ratings pools, better ratings for these networks with Star Wars series and have competing series on different networks? Why isn't that a thing? Why isn't there? Why in 2015 wasn't there a plan to say, all right, let's open this up to all developers and say, okay, EA gets one, Activision gets one, Ubisoft gets one, and then what would be even more interesting is if they said, okay, Microsoft and PlayStation, you guys get your exclusive games, just like Marvel is at the moment making that exclusive Star Wars game. Why isn't that same uniqueness happening in the Star Wars universe? I think we're starting to hit the point where there is a saturation point that is going to then slow us down. I remember seeing Battlefront in 2015, losing my mind, and then realizing how bland of a game it was. I was having fun, but by no means was it a good game. The problem is going to happen that we are going to have these movies constantly happening. We're going to get tired of Star Wars, and that will affect the fact that if they do make video game properties, that will be bland. We will not be interested in Star Wars at all because we've been hit with Star Wars so long in the movie franchise that we will just be worn out of it. Why this trilogy is about to end, and we've only had 2 Star Wars games. How is that a thing? Remember the prequel trilogy? Remember how many games there were? How easy would it have been in the world where smartphones are so popular to have a smartphone game, to have a set of smartphone games with different strategies and different styles, more than just Battlefront? Why did they choose EA? What was the decision there? I understand they want to make money, and that's the deal with money. I get that. But wouldn't it make sense to give that license out even wider to make even more money? Because now you're only stagnating everyone else's expectations. You're only holding us back from the full potential that Star Wars is, which is a property that has very interesting potentials. You can make a flying game like Rogue Squadron. You can make an action game. You can make fun, awesome moments that people will think are better even than the trilogies of the saga themselves, in television and in video games. And the fact that we haven't seen much outside of Rebels and Battlefront since then is embarrassing, and it should be for Disney. And I think that once we get past this original trilogy, the biggest mistake will be, hey, we didn't make anything outside of the movies, and we've only made 2 Star Wars games? Are you kidding me? That's it? You know how much money you guys could have had if you realistically gave that property out to all of them, and then you would have had a rollout of games if you announced, hey, in 2012, you started working with these developers and said, okay, you make a game, you make a game, you make a game, you make a game. And they all make games, they all come out around 2015, 2016, and they all know what the deal is, and they all come out, and they all start to make you tell people early. And I'm sure EA got the news early about Battlefront, which is why it came out in 2015. I find it very fascinating that we're in this world where Disney doesn't understand how to pause. We're a world where Disney doesn't know, all right, this is maybe the moment that we should stop. Instead, they're just using one sort of media format, a media format that, mind you, was dying a couple of years back. And Disney's just taking control of the entire theatrical experience. I mean, all their movies, animated, Marvel, Star Wars, it's all them. It's going to the movie theater, you're going for mostly Disney content at this point. And it's a rarity if you're going for anything else. But it's weird that we've been through 2 movies already and we have not seen this expansion of storytelling. We haven't seen a new direction. We haven't seen video games. We haven't seen television. And then we haven't seen toys. How is it that toys are being sold less and less? How is it because you want to know why toys are being sold at a degree that you want to know why toys are being sold at a much lower rate than that of other than in the past? Because everyone's bought TIE fighters, everyone's bought X-wings, and everyone has seen these things before. Everyone has these figurines. You guys literally made, and I love Star Wars vehicles, but you guys didn't make anything unique or new. You guys kept the same TIE fighters, the same X-wings. You didn't uniquely design something on your own. You instead said, let's just bank on the idea that people love old stuff, and that works, but they've already bought the old stuff. And so now you're stuck with a Rey figurine. You have these character figurines that I'm sure sell, but not as much. So you're seeing it with toy sales, you're seeing it with a lack of video game sales, you're seeing it with a lack of television shows for the media, and now you have these franchises that are just constantly being built. Why? Why are they constantly being developed? Why are we constantly seeing this rerun of more Star Wars, more Star Wars, more Star Wars? The biggest mistake, I think, is that we are hitting a point where people are more tired of the original trilogy than they are of standalone stories. And that should be a problem. That should be a clear and present danger in the fact that why would they be tired of that? That should be the draw. That should be the draw to you. Instead, you guys have run to the ground so quickly that people are tired of the original saga within 2 movies of you guys owning it. That's a problem. But maybe I'm just ranting. Maybe I'm just telling you guys the wrong things. Maybe my opinion is completely off. I just think that Disney is ruining Star Wars. At least the way in which I find that the trilogy is supposed to work, the entire marketing around that trilogy, the way in which it should be explosive, the way in which there should be a pause, the way in which you should have momentum and not just disinterest at a certain point. And I haven't found that there has been any less interest in Star Wars.